Hello, guys. How are you doing tonight? Gonna have a little. I'd like to call it a fireside chat, but there's no fire in here. There's no fireplace or anything. But here's the thing: I see new trends developing within the financial system. Uh, I didn't give the Fed enough credit for. They're smarter than I thought. They are the way they're doing this. They're making it so they're going to extend this out as far as they possibly can. Talk about doing everything to kick the can down the road just as far as possible to the inevitable crash, hyperinflationary depression that's coming. They're pushing it out as far as they can. And they're really quite clever in what they're doing. So I see these new trends developing. What they're trying to do now is, and what they're doing, is instead of having a hard deflationary crash in the markets, what they're doing is they're extending it out and they're going to make what they call a soft landing, but it's still a crash. But it's a soft crash. It's a slow sort of a thing, more slowly, rather than a sudden deflationary. What I was forecasting was a sudden deflationary spike event, but why I was forecasting that was because the Fed's monetary policy that was very tight. They're withdrawing $50 billion a month of liquidity out of the system through quantitative tightening, along with raising interest rates. If they continue with that process, they were heading toward a hard landing, what they call a hard landing, or a sudden crash in the markets. But what they're doing now is they're starting to relinquish slowly off of their. They're starting to actually move toward looser monetary policy, but slowly, albeit slowly. And what they're doing is the markets is coming down, but they're not coming down as fast as they would if they had have continued full speed ahead. Basically, what they're doing is the Fed is leaving off the gas pedal a little bit. They're pulling their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. So what they're doing is when you pull your foot off the gas pedal, the car slows down. And that's what's happening. Their tightening process they're starting to move more towards slowing down on it. And what this is doing is it's going to start to head, instead of toward deflation, what we're going to see is start to see a weakening dollar as a result. Now, today, that's exactly what we saw. We saw the dollar fall off. And we saw gold and silver surge upwards at the same time. This is a developing trend. And if they continue with this developing trend, if the Fed continues to not want to raise interest rates so quickly, and they continue with, if they start to cut back on their quantitative tightening program even more so, what we're going to see is the dollar weaken, we're going to see this trend continue, and we're going to start to see gold and silver prices move up. And at a certain point, cryptocurrency is going to be a recipient of this too, of this action. Now, I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but I'm also very bullish on gold and silver. And the reason why is because these are the only three avenues by which you can actually get out of the dollar and divest yourself of dollar-denominated assets. Now, they've been very bullish on bonds, Thing is what you have to realize is the United States is actually broke. They can never pay the debt. And there's only two ways that they can move in this. They can either do an outright default on the United States debt, or they can hyperinflate the debt away. That's what we're moving toward. We're moving toward the hyperinflation. But the way they're doing these things, the way the Fed is relinquishing off the gas pedal, it looks like if they do it in this way that they're doing it, the hyperinflation is going to be something that onsets slowly rather than quickly. As the economy the economy will start to heat up again. As they reinflate, as they start to back off the pedal, the more they back off the pedal, the Fed, the more the economy will start to heat up. if they start to inject money again into the economy, it's gonna start to heat up. And as it heats up, you're going to see inflation. And that inflation will get worse and worse and worse. Because let's face it, what an awful lot of people that are invested in the dollar forget is the ability of the powers that be to create money. They can create as much money as there are leaves on the trees out there. And an awful lot of people that invest in the dollar, they forget this fact. Believe me, at a certain point, the Fed is going to have to open up the floodgates of money to keep these asset bubbles from bursting. And this is already signs of what they're actually doing. We can already see it. It's the point that confidence starts to be lost in the purchasing power of the fiat currencies. The dollar is the most important of the fiat currencies. That is the point in which the fiat currency starts to hyperinflate. We didn't have this situation years ago when Bitcoin didn't exist and the cryptocurrencies didn't exist. They actually are the perfect recipient, even more so than gold and silver, because of our modern age, being able to move money around the world very quickly. Cryptocurrencies fit into this. There's new cryptocurrencies coming out all the time. Some of them are way better than Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is the king because it's got this name, it's got this first mover advantage and everything else. And so much of the capital is in Bitcoin, like 50% of the cryptocurrency capitalization is in Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin has that core element. As far as scaling is concerned, they have the Lightning Network, and it's up and running. And they've tested it enough now where I don't see that it's going to fail. So we have a situation where the cryptocurrencies have set themselves into position to be a recipient when the hyperinflation comes. Because let's face it, you can move cryptocurrencies around the world instantaneously, and you can't do that with gold and silver. But gold and silver have an aspect themselves that cryptocurrencies can't do. Like if the internet goes off, you can hold your gold and silver in your hand and you still got it. If the internet goes off with cryptocurrencies, what do you got if the internet goes down? Of course, that argument, about the internet going down. If the internet goes down, we're all in big trouble anyway, though. That's the only thing about that. But really, do we really think the whole internet's going to go down simultaneously to render cryptocurrency valueless? If it does, we're in a Mad Max world, and your gold and silver at that point wouldn't probably be able to purchase anything either. At that point, the only thing that would be good for you then is a bag of rice. That would be way better than your gold or silver at that point if the internet goes down. I don't really see that happening, just like I don't see the power grid going down. One of the reasons why I don't see that happening is, it could happen, but I don't really see that happening, is because the system, the way it runs like a human body. If you get an infection and the white blood cells come in to fight the infection, well, the system is kind of like that too. If a bank, say a big bank, were to go down, like Deutsche Bank, what would happen is the body is the system would act just like the human body. They would send money in, or they would do things to support the system, just like they did back in 2008. So they would support that area of the system where the problem is. The same, and they would work just like white blood cells work in your body to fight the infection. And so, just like if you got a giant pimple on your leg, you wouldn't expect to really die from it, because your body would systematically attack that particular spot where the infection is. And it's the same way with the financial system. The people that are in charge would come in and they would try to stop the problem where it exists. But there is a thing here that can, if it's overwhelming, if it all happens at once, if Deutsche Bank were to go down, say, simultaneously, another situation were to happen someplace else, and another one, after a while it would be so much it would overwhelm the system where they couldn't respond. And it's the same way with an infection. If you let an infection spread and it overwhelms your immune system, you're in big trouble. You got to be in the hospital and you got to be on an IV and everything else, and you're in big trouble. Well, the system's the same way. That response where they would try to fix the system could be overwhelmed at a certain point. And then we'd all be in trouble if that were to happen. That would be chaos. But anyway, I've seen these trends developing now, and it's pointing toward the deflationary spike event, a sudden crash in everything, something like we had in 2008, only worse. They're preventing that from happening by taking the pedal off. In other words, releasing their foot off the gas pedal, and they're slowly easing back on these programs that they're doing that would have caused that event. I didn't foresee them doing that. I didn't see them being smart enough. So anyway, basically they're delaying. They're kicking the can down the road. I should have saw this coming. But this is the new trend that's developing, and I only see it getting a little bit worse. Either way, we're heading toward the hyperinflation. Ultimately, that's the conclusion of this game that's happening right now. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. I'm going to be up and try to get doing the market report pretty soon again. I'm going to figure out a way to do it in the motel room. I haven't got my green screen, but I'm going to somehow try to fit it in and get the market reports on. Over here, over where in Canada, it comes on at exactly 10:30 in the morning, so that's when I do my market report. As soon as the market opens up, I think it's an hour earlier on the East Coast. I'm out in the Atlantic time zone, and so it's 10:30. But over here, it's 6 hours later again, so it's like 4 o'clock, you know. So, I mean, the markets, I think, are almost still up and running right now, and it's getting pretty late at night here because it's 6 hours difference, time difference from where I am, and 7 hours, I think, from the New York region. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe to my channel and comment. I try to read all the comments, but there's an awful lot of them. Oh my goodness, I'm on vacation and sometimes I miss a few. When I get home, I'll read them all. Thank you guys for listening to my channel, and we'll catch you guys very soon again. Bye-bye for now, guys.